Hey everybody, this is Marsilio, where I put technicals and timing together for the win. And last week, great as I came into the week with a flexible situation depending on CPI and the Fed, but wanted to see how things unfolded, especially on key levels. And NASDAQ powering up above its yearly resistance level, along with VIX, gave me the confidence that the bulls were in charge, and that's the way it played out. Melt up continued, if anything, a little bit stronger than I thought on Friday, but really came in, shifted more bullish than the video. And the other thing I really got right was S&P high, almost exact within 4 points on its yearly R2, and this is going to be key level in play for the coming week. So that's enough on the review. A lot of interesting intraday setups as well. But it's a gorgeous day here in San Francisco. I'm going to try and get outside soon. But I do want to share, as usual, my take on markets with those who are interested in my work. I think markets are at an interesting juncture, and I have a preferred scenario. It's not all a lock yet, but I'll share what that is. And here's why I'm thinking we could be in for a pause on S&P as the next move. Again, I don't think this high is like it for the year or even the next couple, several weeks. I think S&P could go higher and crack above the yearly R2, at least per data and trend. But several things. I mean, this is where pros take profits, especially heading to the summer. Daily RSI quite high. 2 out of the 4 indexes are below quarterly pivots. So this is a pretty glaring discrepancy. Here's shifting to the ETFs now. This is IWM, so well under its second quarter pivot, which is the level in orange. And the Dow also been below its second quarter pivot. So only NASDAQ of course, above QQQ, above S&P above, Dow and Russell below. And in these situations, index I haven't mentioned that much. It's New York Composite, includes a lot of international names, as kind of a tiebreaker. This is also hanging in there in terms of pivots second quarter, but rolling over and below a falling 50 May. So that also looks more vulnerable. The other thing that I've been keeping an eye on is the sector charts. And these are interesting in that, so this may be a little hard to see, but it's a 4-hour chart from April. Let me expand the bars a little bit. And so the candles are the S&P. And we know that that's going out, that's a high. But look how many have been sideways or flat or down. Even energy, which was a leading sector, is down. So it's really the tech jump that's carried the S&P, at highs. So the question is tech going to slow down? And if it does, then, or will the others play catch up? That's also possible. Can't rule that out. But if you look at some of the other sector charts, just normal sector charts, this is consumer discretionary, well off the highs, doing okay, but not great. This is staples, also off the highs. Energy, well off the high, down quite a lot. Financials, sideways range, down, not near highs. Healthcare doing better, but did not make a new high. Industrials, also down low. Material low, these are impacting the Dow. Real estate, utilities it was on a run with AI energy stuff, but so what's carrying it? It's all tech. Here's XLK. So if that slows, then but this could slow, another could play catch up, or this could slow and we get pullback or more sideways range. And considering that most of the sectors are in sideways range, I think that's my preferred scenario from here, which would imply some pullback from that S&P yearly R2 level. Cryptos have been clear, that all the major coins that I follow, MACD already rolling over. So this is weekly MACD trend is up, but now daily. Now I didn't really recommend this as a setup because in a sideways range, it's often not the time to rely on MACD to take a trade. and that's been the case. Better would be a short-term time frame, like on 4-hour chart. I'm not going to get into that in this video. Or the weaker ones, even better, such as here's Doge has been below its daily 50 MA since Friday. That was a big bar, but that hasn't really taken much heat. Slight bounce, but even getting in, again, not the best setup here, but ways to get in on a weaker coin on the short side. And then Sol also below a 50 moving average much earlier in the week. Bitcoin is holding its 50 moving average so far. That's in purple. I do think that's going to break soon, but not the place to come in short right on support that's likely to bounce somewhat. And then people that attended my webinar actually know that a break of the daily 50 is significant in terms of data and how the timing data that I use plays out. I'm going to have an announcement more on that soon. I'm finalizing a script that will allow the moon phases and colors directly on the chart. This has taken some work. New moons and full moons are easy. The quarter moons are a little tough, but I've got it almost done now, and I'll be announcing more of that soon. Okay, so the other indicators I like to watch, just going to point out a few levels on those, and that would be VIX has been a reliable guide throughout, and it is still below its pivot. It came and tested its June pivot a couple times, so the fact that it stayed below was also instrumental in giving me confidence the bulls were in charge, because if smart money was worried about CPI or J Powell or anything going on, it would have started to move up just like April did early in the stages of that pullback. Interestingly, the two ETF variations are near yearly levels, which are also suggestive of a possible decent turn. This is VXX. It's going down when VIX is down. It includes the time decay in the structure, so that's the downtrend. It often looks quite severe, but it's 2 days below yearly S1 1097 and now poking above. So the question is, any follow through on that would be a warning. And then the long one, SVXY, actually the short, it goes up when VIX is down. It is back testing its yearly level. So anything lower than 59.91 would also, and look at that RSI, be suggestive of some kind of decent next move pullback in indexes. Now, I don't think it's going to be severe, but this is my preferred scenario. But with the level that decides the week is definitely the S&P SPY yearly R2. Above that, I'm not going to argue with the bulls, but I would like to see a test and a drop, especially into the end of the week. The other thing that I've been watching as a kind of glaring non-confirmed that I mentioned in a few of the X articles is high yield bonds, and it's poked above its quarterly pivot twice and then failed. So, smart money it's so in these situations, I mean, it's healthy that tech is leading, but right now that's the only thing at least in the USA markets, they're going up. So I've given you some charts. I've given you my preferred next scenarios and what level I'm looking for, especially that S&P yearly R2. But above, bulls remain in charge. And, I'm not going to argue with it. In terms of setups, I did recommend short on IWM, and that's been fine as an offset. Dow already, this is just trend MACD putting timing together, and break. It said last week that under this quarterly pivot would be a good setup, and so even though there was some moving average support, just noticing the colored MA lines, look, 1 is rising, 3 is falling. That's what gave me the confidence to say, yeah, that's going to work. And then Dow is also below, often will be more stable in times of stress. It's often not my favorite short idea. The pros are going to come in and whack those small caps like they did. But still, it's below levels MACD negative. And then another setup that I like is silver for technical and timing reasons. Here's the weekly chart of silver. Simple pullback to the 10 MA. kind of a decent candle to get a pullback and add scenario on a long-term basis. And then here's the same view on the daily chart, hold of the daily 50, first touch since the launch. And it does need to clear its June pivot 2706, but given my timing preferences, I took a shot. I think there is timing that could support a continuation in silver. And so if you've got, keep an eye on that. I usually don't highlight these kind of ideas without specific reasons. In this last section, I'm going to include, going to shift gears and move to some Astro charts for those who are fluent or curious. I'll try and keep it Astro-free lingo as much as I can. I will see how much I can do that. But here are some considerations on the timing side that are going into my overall views. Now, first, let's get this Tableau workspace. This is Venus sign for indexes, S&P, and of course, Venus and Gemini has done really well. This is showing in blue, led by tech, or tech doing fine and at highs, and especially semiconductors. Venus and Gemini also, near just off highs on the semiconductors. But of course, not the same love for the Dow and not the same love for small caps. And of course, not the same love for cryptos either, which is going to bring me to the next series of charts. This is just Venus in sign data. There's a lot going on in this chart. Actually, I'm going to, so the top section is Venus through signs, average daily percent return, S&P, 2010 to current bull markets only. And there's not a huge drop off between Gemini and Cancer. Cancer's a little bit weaker, but not that bad considering. And this is pretty consistent pattern. In fact, if we go back further, really Cancer's okay. But interestingly, during the tech power-up years, 2010 to current, look at NASDAQ. I thought NASDAQ might even slow down with Venus and Cancer. Not the case. Even stronger. Will that maintain this time? I'm not sure. I was really surprised at this data. Now compare this to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the Venus and Cancer data is really quite terrible. And this is July 2010 to current bull markets only for Bitcoin. So supportive environment, look at that drop off. And even if we shift to a more current time frame with more participation, 2015 to current, still Venus and Gemini has done great, and Cancer has been the second worst sign. So a big drop off in Bitcoin with Venus out of air sign Gemini into Cancer. Not the case with S&P, a mild drop off, and especially not the case in the NASDAQ. Interesting discrepancy. The other amazing Astro idea, again, this is going to take some fluency to maybe get my connections, but here is a chart of S&P each day bar, but Tuesdays only, from April 2023 through, whoops, I got it. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry. Back to this other one. Yeah, April 2023 to just recently. And this is Tuesdays only. And what I'm pointing out is Tuesdays in general have been weaker since the major low of October 2022. It's been one of the weak days. We've had a lot of Mondays up, Tuesdays, Wednesdays down, and then Thursday, Friday rallies. And in that context, we see where some of the worst Tuesdays took place. Cancer, which is the weakest, worst sign for Mars, according to the traditional view. And now we're getting some Astro basic theory. And then also Libra. Mars and Libra did not, was down most of the time. And then Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio came, and now this was somewhat seasonal, but power up with Mars and Scorpio. Again, Tuesdays only. I'm not talking about every day. And then all of a sudden, Aries, a lot of mixed results. The one that did not work in this regard was Capricorn. But mixed results, and all of a sudden, Aries One was near flat, but 5 in a row up. So per this theory, we should start to see some selling on Tuesdays soon. And then also, interestingly, Jupiter, only 3 incidences of a new sign, the sign that doesn't look in, but so far, 2 of them are down. So I just love to see this stuff when the results of the day on the S&P actually make some sense given the connection to the day. Oh, you didn't know? Today's Sunday, Sun's day. Tomorrow's going to be Monday, Moon's day, and so on. Tuesday, Mars, Wednesday, Mercury, Thursday, Jupiter, Friday, day of pleasure, Venus, Saturn. Get those chores done on Saturday. And so with that, I'm going to head out into the sun. Hope you enjoyed my take on the markets. Thanks for spending some time your weekend with me. And, I put these videos out most weeks, update throughout the week, X articles, still for free, not for long. And I have the webinar that I put together on mostly Bitcoin and amazing edges on lunar cycle data is almost going to be available. So I'll be emailing that again soon. I'll post an announcement on that soon. Pardon me. All right. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your weekend.